his rhetorical cues from Star Trek. We have dared to reach into the unknown. The most astonishing feature of the venture may have been its cost, a mere $74 million. Modi noted that the whole effort cost less than Hollywood spent making the science fiction film Gravity. Aloft for nearly a year, the Mangalyaan was the embodiment of India's culture of frugal innovation. Using lightweight instruments, employing components adapted from other uses, and applying engineering prowess to bring down costs, India managed to become just the fourth country whose space organization successfully placed a spacecraft in Mars's orbit, and the first country to do so on its first attempt. These big, important stories incorporate common threads that are by turns bewildering and delightful. Speed, surprise, and sudden shifts in direction in huge global markets routinely impact the destinies of established companies and provide opportunities for new entrants. In fact, ours is a world of near constant discontinuity. Competitors can rise in almost complete stealth and burst upon the scene. Businesses that were protected by large and deep moats find that their defenses are easily breached. Vast new markets are conjured seemingly from nothing. Technology and globalization have accelerated and intensified the natural forces of market competition. Long-term trend lines, once reliably smooth, now more closely resemble sawtooth mountain ridges, hockey sticks, a plateau followed by a steep ascent, or the silhouette of Mount Fuji, rising steadily then falling off. 5 years is an eternity. This new normal, a world in which China leads the globe in holiday consumption, the United States is the largest oil producer, a mobile messaging app is worth $19 billion, and India is a leader in space exploration, presents difficult, often existential challenges to leaders of companies, organizations, cities, and countries. The formative experiences of many senior leaders came during a period that was uniquely benign and placid for the global economy. With good reason, the 25 years leading up to the 2008 financial crisis came to be known, in the words of economists James Stock and Mark Watson, as the Great Moderation. Interest rates fell, helping to drive up the price of assets, whether stocks, bonds, or houses. Natural resources became ever more abundant and cheaper. Jobs were plentiful, and a seemingly endless supply of trained workers stood ready to fill them. When technology and trade disrupted and upended industries, most of those affected were able to find work in other sectors. As surely as night followed day, the value of our homes and investments rose each and every year. In developed economies, parents generally assumed that their children, upon becoming adults, would be more prosperous than they were. Whatever consumers and governments couldn't afford to buy with cash, they could pay for with borrowed funds. There were blips and bumps along the road, to be sure, but by and large, the tale of the Great Moderation was one of continuity and persistent trends. That familiar world is no more. The financial crisis of 2008, the deepest economic contraction since the Great Depression, and a host of disruptive technologies, trends, and developments have conspired to ruffle the calm. Many of the long-standing trends that made life so pleasant for investors and managers during the Great Moderation have broken decisively. After nearly 3 decades of declining interest rates, the cost of capital cannot get cheaper, and it could rise over the next 20 years. After a prolonged period of falling and steady prices for natural resources, the cost of everything from grain to steel is becoming more volatile. The demographic surplus the world enjoyed as working-age populations grew and China joined the global trading system is likely to turn into a demographic deficit as population growth grinds to a halt and the world's labor force ages. Although inequality between countries continues to shrink, in many parts of the world, individuals, particularly those with low job skills, are at risk of growing up poorer than their parents. That's just the beginning. A radically different world is forming. The operating system of the world's economy is being rewritten as we speak. It doesn't come out in a splashy new release. It evolves, unfolds, and often explodes.